What a play after play after play.
And he's got a lot of room to run, and she is taking over.
Rose, that's the greatest conference in the country is showing out tonight, gentlemen. I cannot believe it. That is the greatest high school football game.
Thank you so very much for being with us on a Tuesday night on behalf of First Amendment Sports. I'm Ken Marangolo. This is the WCAC Spectacular. We talk about the greatest high school conference in the land. Joined, as always, by Tim Strachan.
Yeah, I can't wait for tonight. I'm looking so forward to it. It's a little bittersweet. We're saying goodbye to someone, but he's not really. I mean, he's still going to be a part of everything. But
he's right on the screen. I can see his face right now.
To people, man.
He's right here.
I know. But I am looking forward to talking to him.
He's Kevin Ricca.
We have a championship caliber guest again tonight, and I was very proud of our own St. John's Cadets playing live last night in a national championship scenario. They gave it quite a run, but I got to see junior Mac Jones make a behind-the-back goal that should have been an top. Sorry, Mac Haley, my cousin, Mike Jones. Okay, I got it.
And you can't stand Mac Jones. You're Mac Jones' biggest non-fan.
I love Mac Haley. I love Mike Jones. I'm not a big Mac Jones guy.
You're out on Mac Jones. You always have been.
All right. I can't start that one over, but I was very proud of that whole process, watching those guys compete at that level. Wes Speaks doing an unbelievable job on a national level for the cadets and the league.
I tell you, all you parents out there, you want to talk about good coaches in the WCAC, we got a great one for you tonight. But, again, the guy who was on TV last night for our conference, Wes Speaks, he's impressive. Yeah, he's fun, and he's doing some amazing things, not just for St. John's, but for the entire WCAC. Awesome job by the cadets last night. And to be honest, huge things to come. That program is doing nothing but this.
Only 4 graduates.
Yeah.
The whole team's coming back, aside from 4 seniors, all 9 commits, all coming back. I think we'll be seeing them on TV for a couple years. Good job, Coach Speaks.
The one sport that didn't take a hit for the most part during the last year and a half, lacrosse, and you really saw the product of that in watching these high school athletes. Not as much lost time on the lacrosse field for the last year, which is interesting to me. They were playing
their season last year got.
Yes. But when you were driving around town, you always seemed to see guys. I felt like lacrosse was the one sport everyone seemed to be playing, and again. You saw it on the field. When we showed up on the football field or some of the basketball courts and seeing people, both boys and girls, and coaches for that matter, getting loose for the first time in a long time. What you saw from St. John's and from those teams in both high school and college was the result of staying at it, and it showed. Again, awesome job by the cadets. I'll tell you what, guys. Let's do a little something we like to call Around the League. And we are brought to you by Lido's, and we got ourselves a clean sweep in the Ladies Player of the Year category from Gatorade. Let's start out in Maryland, Bladensburg, where Elizabeth Seaton's Regina Walton, class of 22, was named the Gatorade Maryland Girls Basketball Player of the Year, the first Roadrunner to win that award. Shout out to Dave Bell, our good friend and coach, Katie Cage, whole Seton community for a great effort this season on the hardwood.
Oh, they're going to be getting good, man. I've been watching and keeping an eye on this Elizabeth Seton team. They're going to be strong.
Head across the state line to Chantilly, Virginia, where the Paula VI Panthers senior Bella Perkins was named Gatorade Virginia Girls Basketball Player of the Year, sensing a theme here. Second player in the Panthers program to win the award. First one was
Ashley Owusu, dominating for the Terps right now.
Better believe it. By the way, Bella committing over the weekend to USC. She's Trojan bound, and it's awesome. We talked to Scott Allen.
Yeah.
It's about time. Big time programs getting a big time player, and it's going to be great. Congratulations to Bella and the whole Paula VI family. Heading on in to the district. It's just a weekly update these days in terms of awards being racked up by St. John's superstar AZ Fudd. Named the Gatorade DC Girls Player of the Year. It's her 3rd time accepting the award. Never been done. Was previously the first sophomore to ever win National Player of the Year. Like I said, every week it seems like something more she adds to the collection.
Sweep. The DMV WCAC Ladies Sweep and the AZ FUD National three-time, first time to do it sweep. We got ladies basketball locked up.
Unbelievable. And it's not the first time either. How about this? Former PVI standout, third-team All-American Roman Pugliese in the national championship against UVA, making Coach Waters proud. Face-off win with the goal. Maryland Terrapins falling just short at the end to UVA, and that's not something I like to see or say, but it is what happened.
Awesome game.
Very awesome game. Memorial Day has long been about Maryland lacrosse. Get on TV for the national lax fans. How about this one? One and perhaps done. DeMatha alum Hunter Dickinson declared for the NBA draft after a very impressive freshman season at the University of Michigan. We will see as the process plays out whether he's wearing Michigan blue next year or if he's playing in the NBA. We know one thing, he'll be in the NBA at some point. And we'll have more to come on that in our next segment. We want to say thank you to our friends and sponsors, Lido Pizza. Lido Pizza is square because they don't cut corners. Our guest tonight hasn't cut a corner for quite some time, although I do have it on good authority that he's eaten quite a few slices of Lido Pizza.
Yes, Lido's is we're going to have to figure out a way to get some Lido's down.
We're going to figure out a way to get him some Lido's.
We got to figure out some sort of that's going to be an expensive Uber Eats bill, but it's going to happen.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen.
He deserves it.
I'll tell you what, you might know our next guest from such travails and exploits as this.
Congratulations goes to Hyattsville, as the DeMatha Stags will be your WCAC boys basketball champions.
With a generational performance from Earl Timberlake.
22.
Listen, this guy has been the head coach at DeMatha for 19 years, over 500 wins, 8 WCAC titles, but we could go on and on about numbers and statistics, but really tonight it's about he's a friend of mine, he's a friend of ours, he's a friend of the WCAC, and as the former head coach at DeMatha, it is bitter to be saying goodnight to him, but I'd like to bring on the current associate head coach of men's basketball at Virginia Tech, my man, Mike Jones.
Who?
Mike. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Listen.
So first of all,
go ahead.
Say this. Lido's Pizza and Crabs will always be able to find their way to Blacksburg. I'm just putting it out there. Anyone that comes to visit or anything like that knows that they better have one of those two things with them. So I would get my Lido's fix.
Well, let's just start there anyway. Lido's, you talk about it all the time as a place that's special to you because of the time that you spent there with probably the greatest Lido patron of all time in Morgan Wooten. Means a lot to you.
Absolutely. As a player, I didn't know about Lido's and the tradition of the coaches going there after every game. But then when I got on Coach Wooten's staff, I learned very quickly that was something that you might have learned more in a Lido's after-game conversation than you would in a coach's clinic. And I also learned how to keep my mouth shut. You win, and, it was almost like lobbing something up to coach. And then he would talk about it, tell stories about it, and you just shut up, ate your pizza, drank your drink, and listened and learned. And then I remember going through the process of becoming the head coach. One of the things that I asked DeMatha was, would we still have the ability to do that after every game? And as part of like camp proceeds from the summer, that's how we got that paid for. And it was definitely something that there's a lot of memories in that place. And the old Lido's and the one that moved right down to College Park. So,
well, let's deal with the issue at hand. I mean, at one point I never thought Morgan Wooten would stop coaching at DeMatha. Unfortunately, that came to an end. We lost him. But you took over seamlessly, and it got to a point where it felt like you were never going to leave. Just take us through, all the schools that may have come after you. At what point did you think to yourself, this is where I'm staying forever? And then up till now, when Coach Young made a very smart decision and wouldn't stop coming after you until you said yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that, when I first got to DeMatha and started coaching with Coach Wooden on his staff, I truly thought I'll coach here for a couple of years and then I'll go on to college. Like, that's just seemed like all of coaches, the ones that wanted to do it and worked hard, that's what they all did. Mike Bray, Pete Strickland, Perry Clark, Joe Cantapio, all of them. So I thought that was going to be my trek. And then obviously Coach Wooden retired, and I was in a position with a tremendous, tremendous amount of help from Neil Murphy. We and Reggie Vini, we tackled, not replacing Morgan Wooden, but being able to step into those shoes. And, after maybe 10 or so years, I kind of had resigned myself to the fact that, I know maybe I had a dream at one point in time of being a college coach, but I find a purpose here. This is where I want to be. And I was totally content with being there until I was 65, 70 years old. And offers came, and it just, none of them moved me to the extent that I wanted to leave. So, and then May 5th comes, and it's 9:03 at night. I remember it very well because I literally was on a USA Zoom getting prepared for the 16 and under training camp. And Mike Young calls me, but I'm on the Zoom, so I can't answer. And then he sends a text to ask me to call him when I was free. And as soon as the USA Zoom called, the USA Zoom started at 8:30. It went to 9:02. At 9:03, I called Coach Young back, thinking that I was going to be talking about Craig, who's an assistant coach, used to coach with me. I actually helped coach him, but he's an assistant coach at the University of Delaware. I had received a text from him earlier saying, hey, Virginia Tech has an opening on their staff. Call me. Usually when I speak to Corey, that's going to be the prelude to him asking if I wouldn't mind, basically giving him a recommendation. So I had my whole Corey McCray spiel kind of ready to go. And I called Coach Young, and he literally blew me away. Like, he started off, and I mean, almost verbatim, Mike Jones, I don't know you very well, and I know you don't know me very well, but there's a certain amount of people that I trust in this business, and everyone that I've spoken to told me that hiring you would be a home run for myself and my program. So I am calling you today to offer you the associate head coaching job at Virginia Tech. So that caught my attention. I asked him to repeat it. He repeated it, and started talking about some of the details of it. And again, it got my attention. I didn't immediately say yes. I took my time. I wound up making quite a few phone calls about him because, again, I did not know him very well, to people that I trust. And if I was grading, and I don't want to seem like I was doing that to coach, but if I was giving grades out, like, everything came back straight A's. Like, his character, his ability to coach, his ability to teach, my ability to be able to learn from him, the university playing in the ACC, the team that's returning, moving away but not too far away, like, just all the details of it. It just wound up being something that I could not say no to.
An offer you couldn't refuse.
Hey, they were coming.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was very persistent about it. I appreciate he respected, my desire to take my time, discuss it with my family. And, but he was there. He called me every day just to check in. Never made me feel any pressure. I didn't necessarily like the way the tail end of it went with, kind of news trying to get leaked
Oh,
out.
yeah.
But I mean, I also understand that that's part of this business, so no hard feelings there. But it probably sped up my decision because I did not want my kids kind of dealing with that. So
Sure.
I knew at some point in time I either had to, as they say, piss or get off the pot. So, yeah.
Well, as far as the DeMatha family is sad to see you go, I mean, we all have to understand you've got your own immediate family, and this is an unbelievable opportunity for you. And as sad as we're going to be to see you go, we are all so damn happy for you and for your family for the opportunity. It's just awesome.
Well, thank you. Literally the toughest decision I've ever had to make, and it was the toughest because of those kids and having to look them in the eye. And I will be perfectly honest, and anybody knows me knows how I feel about DeMatha and the impact it's had on me. But the one conversation that I did not want to have, and Tim, you know this, was telling Father Damien.
Yeah.
And that was probably as an emotional adult conversation as I've ever had in my life. Father Damien is truly just a great man, and I didn't want to disappoint him. And going through it, we had a very long conversation, and at the end of it, I had to tell him that I had made my decision. And, we both shed some tears. And then in true Father Damien fashion, he gave me a hug. And then we started talking about the future for DeMatha because we both love it so much. So, but yeah, those were the two. Me telling the kids that was not fun. I love them so much, and I got to be careful because, like, I got rules I got to follow now. I can't
Sure.
talk about
Yeah.
rules. Like, I can't name a player, but, like, I mean, just some of those guys, just the connection we have and the relationships that I've built with them over the years, to walk away from that was not easy. And then, as I said, the Father Damien conversation was not easy either.
Well, I just want to echo what T was saying, Coach, and thank you once again for being here tonight. I know it's very hectic. I mean, you're in between Blacksburg and town and everything else, but the love that I saw you get from the league-wide, that's what shows who this guy really is. You get on Twitter right away, everyone's head coach is in there. Everyone's jumping. And if you've ever seen Mike Jones at a gym, I mean, it's like the gravitational pull is different. And that guys that have played ball a long time get that. And everywhere he goes, it's because you treat everyone so well. And we want to say thank you and good luck. So let me get that off my chest. So thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
And it's not just because they don't have to face you anymore. I know that also was a problem. But, you looked out for everyone's kids, not just your own. And that leads me to this next question. You are about to accept your 22nd coaching gig for USA Basketball a couple weeks back. And I want you to just talk a little bit about USA Basketball, what it means to you. And I'd like to know, does this mean you're going to be able to continue there, or has that been determined?
Yeah, so no, I literally had to resign from my appointment as the 16 and under and 17 and under head coach. I did that the Monday morning that I decided that afternoon that I would be taking the job down here. So, and like I'm not saying this because I'm looking for any credit or anything like that, but my resignation from that helped two of my very, very, very close friends. Me vacating the head coaching spot. One of the guys that coached with me, Sharman White from Pace Academy in Atlanta, where Danny Ferry's kids go to school. He was then promoted to the head coaching spot. So very happy for him. He is a great coach. And like, I'm just like, obviously that's the pinnacle of amateur coaching. And he's able to step into that role with no problem at all. And then WCAC related, I was asked like who I felt would be a good fit to take Sharman's place. And the name that was agreed upon by myself and everyone else was Steve Turner.
Yeah.
And now Steve is on the staff of the USA U16, U17 teams, and he will get to go to Argentina later this summer and compete for a FIBA America's gold medal. And they take care of business. Then next year, don't know where it's going to be. It was supposed to be in Bulgaria last year, so we'll see about 2022. But go after a world gold medal. So.
And most people don't know this, but he'll also be competing in several dance contests down in Argentina. Steve Turner is very light on his feet. If you've ever coached, I know if you've ever seen him on the sideline, he moves like a ballerina.
You're going to have to answer to that.
I know.
No. Hey, Kevin. Like, Ken's not lying. Steve Turner can dance.
He can.
I believe that.
Put him up against anyone in a dance.
You heard it here.
All right, well, after midnight, I might take some of that smoke, but I'm going to tell him the Ken story first, the ballerina. That was the thing I was worried about, not the fleet on his feet. Whew.
That is awesome to hear. And congratulations to Steve. But talk about that. I mean, you are leaving, and we don't hold back. This is the best conference in the country, and it's not just the players; it's the coaches, too. I mean, you're leaving a place that I know is special to you, but it's special, just period.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the rivalries, they existed before I became coach at DeMatha. They'll exist after. But the relationships, Glenn Ferrillo and I are laughing because this year in a gym with no fans at all, and we're playing at DeMatha. This will be both of our last games of the season. And, the COVID rules were a little bit different this year. So there was no jump off. And because it was the second time we played, but both of them were at DeMatha, we wore our road uniforms and we played it like it was an away game for us and a home game for Paul VI. So they were supposed to do a coin flip, but we had pretty much agreed like the road team will always get the ball first. So when we started the game, DeMatha got the ball first. Well, we went to overtime. And the funniest thing happened, like, that had not happened yet. And so I wanted the coin flip to see who got the ball first for overtime. And Glenn was just like, no, you got the ball first. Like, I should get it now. And I'm just like, well, what about the jump ball? And, like, we are literally arguing on the sideline with the officials. And, like, it was the funniest thing. It was literally funny. And I think I'm right. He thinks he's right. The referees are, they're trying the best they can to be peacemakers in the whole thing. And then, DeMatha lost the argument, and Paul VI gets the ball. We wound up winning in overtime. And literally that evening on the way home, and it's Valentine's Day at that, on the way home, Glenn calls me, and we just laughed for like 5 minutes about like the fact that we were actually literally sitting there arguing about whether or not it should be a coin flip, like stuff like that. I will miss that because these guys, Joe Wooten, Patrick Bean, G.J. Kissel, Marty Keithline, like all of these guys that I've coached against for so long. And then the newer coaches in the league with Mike Powell and Walter Booth, and now Dwayne Bryant's back in the league. Like this is just, this is a great place, and I know the league will be just fine without me, but I will definitely miss those rivalries and those friendships.
I was just going to say, your legacy in this league has been cemented. That's a fact. Yes. Listen, man, we're like the old heads in this conversation around here, so we always got you. And I loved your quote, Coach, when you said, I just want DeMatha to win, and in 10 years to forget all about Mike Jones. Well, what you just talked about Absolutely. And all the friendships that you've made, I know you believe that quote, but I promise you that's not going to be the case. And it's because of everything you've done and all these stories we're hearing about for all these other guys, man. And you quit a job, and then your friends are getting a job. Like, I got to get closer with Coach Jones, man.
Well, Coach, we talk about your impact on kids, specifically, the kids that you've coached, but which have been a lot, not just DeMatha kids. And I wanted to ask you, because I'm fascinated by the process. And more recent news, we talked about it in the Around the League segment with Hunter Dickinson kind of making this decision. And I know we have to be careful how we couch conversations, but it's a fascinating process for a kid who's in college already to navigate. What should I do? What's the best decision for me and my family? What's the best decision for my career? What's the best decision, period. And I'm interested because I have to believe, that you've been involved on the other end of those calls. And obviously there's a lot of kids and people that you've coached that have been in that exact situation. Can you shed any light on how that works without obviously being too specific about any individual player, but it's just an amazing process.
Yeah, that honestly, Ken, that's going to be hard.
Okay.
But I'll do the best I can, and hopefully this doesn't get me in any trouble.
Oh, no. Let's go back to Lido's. Come on.
We're good. Obviously, there's a process that these guys go through. And there's a couple of different ways it can go. You can put yourself in a situation where you declare for the draft and you do not have the option to return to school. You can also put yourself in a situation where you declare for the draft, get some feedback, and then make a decision on whether or not you want to return to school. And then obviously you can just choose to remain in school. So I know of a certain 7-footer who has decided to take option 2 in that, and I think it's a great thing. I'm proud of him. He handled it the right way. He learned as much as he could about the process. He spoke to his coach at his university and let him know, like, it wasn't like he blindsided his coach or anything like that, and like he's going to go through this process and get some feedback. So it's a win-win. Like, you go and get feedback that, I'm ready and this is the time to do it, then go do it. Go be great. And any and everybody should be rooting for you. If you get the feedback that, hey, you need to do more of this, or hey, you need to focus on that in order for you to be attractive to it, then hey, by all means, go to work on whatever those things are. And next year or whenever that opportunity comes again, you will have had the chance to prove to everybody that you're capable of doing what they need you to do. So this is a win-win for that young man, and again, I'm so proud of him. He told me he was going to do it. He waited a little bit, and actually, I was down here when he sent me the text to say he was doing it the next day. And I told him I loved him, told him I was proud of him, and he's got all the support he will ever need from me as he navigates this process.
Well, first of all, that was well done, very well done. It's not lost on us and a lot of people who are watching the minefield that is your life now in certain sense. So I'm gonna go.
Let me tell you something. So I'm gonna be at DMV Live on June 18th.
Okay.
I'll be half court. There'll be high school teams playing. And I'm literally. I have a call in with the compliance officer here because I want to know, what am I supposed to do when a kid walks up to me because he hasn't seen me since, and he just wants to say congratulations. And he walks up to me. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to slap his hand away when he extends his hand? Am I supposed to turn my back and run the other way? This is really going to be tough, but I also have a job to do. I have to be there. There's guys that we want to recruit that need to see my face, and this is going to be a really interesting thing. Obviously, I'm going to do the best job I can to never put myself or Virginia Tech in any harm's way, but learning the rules first and foremost, and then navigating, being able to be effective within the rules is priority number 1 for me right now. So.
Well, we'll kind of come back to some easier territory. I will obviously always remember selfishly because I was on the floor watching what was arguably the best dressed man in the arena hold the ball as his team mobbed him after the final whistle. That one will live with me for a long time.
That suit got drenched.
It did. I know, and I know Coach didn't mind 1 second. But can you? and I'm not asking you to pick favorites in terms of memories, but just a few thoughts you're having as you kind of close the book or the chapter, I should say, on Hyattsville at this point. Some things that kind of come to your head as you go down 95 South.
Kids, and more kids. Like the relationships that I have with these young men, and I'm proud to make the statement I'm about to say. Like, hey, playing for me is not easy. I am tough to play for. I am like a coach that is going to demand from you, and wherever that bar is set, I am not lowering the bar for you. Now, I may do different things with different kids to get you to that bar, but some kids leave that program and they go into college or whatever, and they're just like, man, I'm so thankful to be out of there. But pretty much all of them at some point in time come to that realization that they get it, they understand, they know why. And some of my best relationships now with players came from a rough start. I came from you're always on my case, or you're picking on me, or why are you pressed about that or whatever. And now, I don't say the best of friends, but now we have great relationships, and I am so proud of that. The relationships I have with the families, honestly, the Grant family and the Robinson family, two families that have been through thick and thin with me. Jairus Lyles' mother, these are three people that I truly sought advice from as I made this decision. And that's because those three young men, Jaron Grant is going to be a great coach one day. I hope to be able to coach with Jaron Grant one day. James Robinson is going to be a great coach one day. My plan was for him and Cameron Taylor to come back and coach with me at DeMatha when they're done playing overseas. Jairus Lyles, I believe, will be a great coach / trainer one day. And the relationships I've had with those families over the years are just tried and true. But those young men specifically, the relationships I have with them, with the Grant family as a whole. Look at my staff: Austin Freeman, Derek Banks, Kenny Tate. They all played for me. Alex Ogundadegbe played for me. All of these guys, were once players on teams that I've coached, and they don't come back if they don't realize the benefit of what happened. Just like I came back to coach with Coach Wooten because I realized the benefit of being with him. So, and then if you talk about games, I honestly believe I remember every single one of them. Obviously, there's a couple that are special. The very first championship back in 2005 at Gallaudet, beating O'Connell in the championship, our first one after Coach Wooten. And then this last championship in 2020, 500th win with the young men that we did that with. Just some very special memories between those two games and then all the games in between.
Well, I also just wanted to mention, too, because we had him on the show as well, Markel. You talk about the relationships that, but the way that you reached out to Markel and had the team reach out to him when he got hurt again this past season, it was just evident, and just talk about some of those guys that are in the NBA that I'm sure there were some pretty interesting conversations when they heard the news and wanted to call you.
Well, we did that for Markel. We did the same thing for Victor Oladipo.
Yes.
He got back, a couple years ago. So, it is what it is in terms of, that brotherhood, that support, that's never going away no matter what. I don't have to be the coach at DeMatha to want to support those guys. So, honestly, Victor Oladipo, he and I texted back and forth because he was just like, hey, man, what's going on? And I told him, and he was just like, so let's you want to talk through it? And we literally went back and forth. And he, what are the pros? Why wouldn't you leave? Why would you stay? And literally, he helped me kind of just articulate my thoughts. And this is a 29-year-old kid who I coached. That he graduated in 2010, so he graduated 19 years after me, and he's literally helping me kind of talk. And that's a pretty cool thing. Quinn Cook, he didn't even know. Quinn Cook had gotten off social media for a couple of weeks, and he reaches out to me, and I'm actually driving down 81 South, coming to Blacksburg, and I'm just like, yo, you do know I'm not at the math anymore. And he, like, literally didn't respond. He called his mother. Yo, I was pulling my leg, and she was like, no, that's true. So then he calls me, and he's just like, yo, what? Like, and, you know, we had a very conversation, but, like, that was the first he had heard. And he was just like, yeah, I'm getting back on social media tomorrow. Like, I can't miss information like that. But you look at that, and even somebody like Joe left the math after his sophomore year, and had recently come back to visit with me and us at the math. Like, he was one of the very first people to text me to say congratulations. So, like, again, these relationships, like, you know, they'll never go anywhere. You know, I hope still that I'll be a support system for all of those guys. But, like, this, just the whole relationship aspect has been pretty cool to go through, to have these guys trying to counsel and give me advice. Like, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Well, Coach, it's been pretty cool watching you in action in Hyattsville, and I know it's going to be pretty cool watching you get after it in Blacksburg. And in spite of rooting against him for so many years, I know if I see him on the dial, I'm going to tune in and I'm going to check in to see how fresh that suit is, first and foremost. But then see the impact you're continuing to make on young athletes and kind of, you know, as we like to say, you know, doing it for us. And to Kevin's point, no one's ever going to forget because we're never going to let them. Because that's what we do, and it's just been an honor. And I get to be the last guy to say it. I know they both already said it. I'm so proud of you. Couldn't be more excited to see this move that you're making. For all the reasons are great. Everyone wins, and it's an awesome thing. I'll also say, you know, you closed the book for the most part on our sports life. Before this pandemic, when we all walked off that floor at American, it was over. It was over, and we didn't even know it. And so another reason why it's such a fond memory, and it will be forever. Thank you so much for your time, not just for us, but on behalf of so many, folks, families, students, and even as far as obviously Old Marlboro Pike over there in the gym at McNamara. We love you, and we wish you the best, and we know that we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Anytime.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Good
Good luck.
Mike.
Go get him.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Oh, that's great. Coach Mike Jones.
Morgan had a lot of Morganisms, but one of them that he harped on a lot was first impression. My first impression of Mike was when I was a freshman, and he was a senior. And he just came out. I was putting on my Nike. I just bought Nike Air Pumps or something like that. Thought maybe they'd make me better. He just came over and was a cool dude, you know. And I knew he was a senior. I knew who he was. He just couldn't be a cooler guy, you know. And lots of times, you know, a senior would like to mess with a freshman or something like that, or at least just joke with him. But he could not have been more genuine in that moment. And now, you know, so many decades later, he's the same dude. He is the same guy. He's never changed. He is the most real person you'll ever meet, and that's in and of itself why he is successful at what he does.
And my impression of him tonight, he is jacked up, man. He is so fired up. He was in a mood. Listen, there wasn't any of this coach speak. You know, there was no like, well, no, he was just like, here's the deal, man. Here's how it went. And you could see the enthusiasm. It was coming through
we can't add, in my mind, in all of our minds, because we know he's going to be the head coach somewhere at some point. Yeah. That's not what he's here to talk about. He's there to learn. He's working under a great coach.
On that,
5 years, okay. So that we can say it, but we're not going to put him in that position in an interview. We're never going to say,
No.
But we know who he is and what he's capable of, and where this thing is ultimately going. Don't miss a second of it, because he will make an impact in his position at Virginia Tech. Check it out. They're doing some things there, but in the meantime,
He played down in Virginia. His
He knows
relationship
it.
to the state of Virginia,
Yes.
plus this conference. But it was the most brilliant.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
They won big time.
Right.
I loved him talking about the fact that Mike Young had no idea who he was, and Mike Jones really didn't know him.
Yeah.
It was almost like like junior high. They were calling people, I think he likes you.
That's this note.
I
Do
think
you
he
wanna-
likes you too. I think you guys
yeah.
should get together. Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, they got some good mutual friends. That's a fact.
That's true. A lot of smart
It
people
was unbelievable.
clearly
I mean,
involved.
I did hear he turned it down twice. I mean, literally turned it down twice. Mike Young wouldn't stop coming back because he knew what he wanted.
Yep.
And he got it. And again, it really was an offer he couldn't refuse. It's great for his family. It's great for his career. Sad for DeMatha. Sad for WCAC, but he'll always be around.
Yep.
And DeMatha, Pete Strickland right now, the interim head coach, a DeMatha guy, a Wooten guy. I asked him, I reached out to him and said, congratulations, so glad you're there. I know you're going to continue to do what DeMatha does. And he wrote back and said, that's funny. Some guy asked me yesterday what I would do differently. He goes, why would I do anything different?
That's right.
Why?
Yep.
So DeMatha's going to be fine. Right now, under the helm of Pete, and whoever gets decided to take it full term, and the WCAC will continue to be great because we keep spitting out great people like Mike Jones.
Well, we're extremely proud to have Mike Jones on the show tonight. It always makes us look great when we have human beings of that quality and caliber on the same screen. We apologize to the Mike Jones of the world for sharing a screen with us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we were super proud to have that, and we got a great one in store for you next week. I want to announce we will have Candy Cage. Now, the AD Elizabeth Seaton, it's an awesome story. She has been around the league forever. Her family's been around the league forever. She has also coached at my alma mater up in Baltimore at Loyola. Now Loyola University used to be Loyola College. An awesome person through and through. Again, a perfect example of what our league's all about. And I've gotten a chance to get to know Candy better during this pandemic and to see really up close how committed and dedicated that she is, and basically, how she kind of sets the tone for what we've come to expect from anyone who's either on the sidelines or in the administrations at these schools. It's just another testament to what these kids are getting from these WCAC institutions. So we look forward to chatting with Candy next week. I believe she is. They've graduated at Bowie Bay Sox Stadium. We'll get the whole lowdown. Candy will give us the skinny on everything. Want to say thank you again to our guest Mike Jones. Appreciate his time tonight. I want to say a special thank you to these two gentlemen here. Let's start with Tim Strachan.
Yeah, no, it was great. I'm glad we got a chance to officially, say goodbye to Mike, even though he's going to continue to be around. Just what a great dude, great coach.
Yep.
So thankful for the time. And again, his friendship has been, meant a lot to me. And we didn't talk about it much because I think it's talked about a lot. But again, the Morgan Wooten influence on his life and his coaching career and how that will continue to be a part of DeMatha too, which is, all that I care about is that it stays within that tree. Everybody, we're all going to be great going forward, but I'm just so happy for Mike, and thank you again for coming on.
He's Kevin Ricka.
And he started as the assistant freshman coach. That's the lowest you can start at that level. And he took that program to even newer heights than Morgan Wooten had just because of how basketball expanded nationally. He was the perfect follow-up. Man, I can't wait to root for him now. It'll be a lot easier.
It's going to be a lot easier with our –
Well, you win 8 WCAC titles. You've probably broken someone's heart more than 3 or 4 times.
That's right.
I'm just going to say that and leave that on the table. But come on, man. He was also on the court one time when I was on the court and didn't win that title as you were yourself. Guys like this that do it the right way, it's so easy to get behind them.
Yep. Luke, can we fire up the Kevin's favorite song?
Oh, this is my jam.
Yes.
It's
Come back in less than 10 minutes For Thank God It's Tuesday. We have something fun in store for you guys tonight in this very busy NFL time, obviously. Until next Tuesday night, I am Ken Marangolo. This was the WCAC Spectacular. You sound great, Luke. He's been practicing.
Mike Jones.